My channel, and in this week's episode it is all about ham radio. What is ham radio? Let's find out.
For Japan Radio, November Yankee Zero Victor, November 4 Juliet Radio.
Golf 7 Kilo Charlie Kilo Portable.
And I just thought I'd do a very quick video on what is ham radio. The aim of this video is really for new people that want to understand what ham radio is all about. I know that some of the viewers that I've got on the other channel that I do, which is Our Narrowboat Quest, we do a cruising video for our channel, and on there we've had some comments which say that they know about various forms of communication, one of them being CB. And CB, in fact, is something that was very dear to my heart in the early days. I used to be a CBer back in kind of around about the 1976-ish, something around that. When I used to be driving around in my van or my car, I also had a CB. But of course, back in them days, it was AM, and it was also illegal to have them, or illegal to use them at the time. It was quite a thing, actually. We used to find it very difficult to get hold of radios. You'd be able to get hold of a radio if you knew a mate of a mate of a mate, and he would be able to supply you with a radio, and antennas and that sort of thing didn't seem to be too much of a problem. I remember travelling to a local place and finding a garage that used to sell antennas, and it was quite interesting in them days. I met someone many years ago and formed quite a big relationship, quite a friend relationship with him. He was on CB as well, and we used to talk to each other as we were going to work and on the way home from work. Yeah, very good. And also we used to play chess over the airwaves. We used to sit there and play chess and chat in the evening and that sort of thing. So yeah, CB was a big part of my life for kind of probably around about 10 years, until kind of I got a family, and then obviously it kind of petered off from there. But yes, that was the kind of introduction for me, was CB. A lot of people also use shortwave listening, shortwave radio, to listen to various stations. It might be the air bands, it might be aircraft. In my day, it used to be police and that sort of thing, but nowadays, of course, you don't get police bands necessarily on over the air. They're normally encrypted. They're normally a data mode which is encrypted, so you can't actually listen to what was going on. But that was an interesting time when you could sit and listen to what was going on in the local area and find out what was happening up the road or around the corner. Yeah, it was fascinating time, and I thoroughly enjoyed using CB and shortwave listening as well. But once I got into ham radio, it was a slightly different thing. It was really nice when I got introduced to ham radio. I mean, my first experience with ham radio, I'll always remember, it was really with a handheld. My friend had a handheld, and he was sitting in his garden, and he was talking to somebody over the other side in Essex. We were in Kent and he was in Essex, and he was using a thing called a repeater, and basically he was using 2 meters, which is a frequency that's quite common with ham radio operators, and he was talking onto a repeater. A repeater is another station that's set up with an antenna that receives your signal. So you might be lower down and they might be on top of a hill, and you transmit up to their little antenna on their roof, and they then retransmit that to people down in the valley the other side of the hill. So it was a really interesting way of getting introduced to ham radio, and I felt that ham radio was really the way to go for me. I was also very interested in the early days in how electricity worked. And my brother actually said about how electricity worked, and I sat down and tried to find out more. I ended up buying some books and doing a little bit of studying, and then I found out exactly what electricity was all about, how it worked, where it came from, why you can't see it and taste it. Of course, you can feel it if it gives you a shock, but yeah, that was quite a thing to learn, was how electricity worked. And actually all of this forms part of ham radio. Ham radio licensing was really set up in the early days to help keep the frequencies clear for other people to be able to use them, so that we all had our own little space to do our work. It could be that we were doing testing. In the early days, there was a lot of testing on radar and on radio in general, and often you'd find that people would interfere with people's tellies or broadcast radio, so they would allocate certain frequencies within the spectrum. There's a spectrum of frequencies that which is a vast frequency spectrum, and we are allocated a small chunk of that in order to operate in, so that other people can then be allocated different frequencies, and they get their own little slot to be able to use. And around the world, each country is given their own set of frequencies, but ham radio operators around the world are given the same kind of the similar type of frequencies, so that we do have a very slight difference from the Americans and slight difference from other countries, but in general the bands are pretty much the same. And I'll draw out a little graph of the frequency at some point. I'm going to actually set up an overhead camera so that people can actually see, and I'll do some drawings and that sort of thing. But for now, it's just a brief introduction into ham radio, what it's all about, and how we're likely to go on from there. If you're interested, keep watching, and hopefully I'll be able to give you some more information on the way. But that's how I started with ham radio. Thanks for now. Bye for now.